You're probably most familiar with Blue Sky Studios as the ones behind the Ice Age films, but they were also responsible for some of my favourite childhood movies like Rio and Robots. To draw comparisons to Pixar, Blue Sky Studios started out in 1987 to help render visual effects. Their first standalone project after being established as a film studio was actually an Oscar-winning short titled Bunny. This beautiful short film centred around an elderly female rabbit who lived alone in a small forest. The most important result of Bunny is the fact that it gave Blue Sky Studios an opportunity to create their own first feature film. After Ice Age was released in 2002 and surpassed all expectations, Fox had the belief that this studio would be able to hold their own against major competitions such as DreamWorks and Pixar. In 2005, Blue Sky Studios released Robots. This did alright, but the studio quickly realised that they're going to have to keep making Ice Age movies to keep the lights on. This was a model that worked, as the next 2 Ice Age movies made considerably more each time. Ultimately, this meant that the studio could take more risks, like with Haunting Here's a Who and Epic. These films also did alright, but it wasn't until Rio came out in 2011 where Blue Sky Studios would see money pouring in once again with original IP. Both Rio films made around $500 million each. This is around double what their other non-Ice Age films were making at the time. Having 2 successful franchises is something you'd think would allow the studio to exist for many years to come, but as Disney announced that they were buying Fox, Blue Sky Studios ended up shutting down only 2 years after the acquisition. Some think that the shutdown decision was based on Spies in Disguise flopping, but I think it's because Disney already have 2 in-house animation studios and they really didn't want to have to compete against themselves. Maybe this is true, maybe it isn't, but as someone who grew up with Blue Sky Studios, it's definitely sad that we've not seen any movies from them for a while. That is, unless we're counting the brilliant Nimona which Netflix were kind enough to put out. Maybe they could return one day, but with it being 3 years since the shutdown, at this point I don't see them returning if I'm being completely honest.